first tournament of the year, Mike? What do you think of this tournament? Your team's getting after this summer.
It's an exciting time of year for us. It's always a new beginning. Seeing how the guys respond after being gone all summer, and we've had a couple good weeks of practice. But this event's always a nice one to start it out with. This is a big deal to our Golf Coaches Association and to golf in general. Folds of Honor is a big participant in golf, and golf supports that foundation pretty well. So this is a big event. Got a lot of top teams in it. It's got some service academy teams, some HBCU teams. So it's kind of a feel-good event with some top teams you can compete against and see where we're at.
So you get your top three back from last year. What's that mean, like going into this year, to have those three, at the top of your lineup?
Well, it's comforting for Coach to know that you have that back, but we would love our guys who are not in the top three to push those guys and keep moving. So, and those guys to be pushed. They had a great year last year. Jackson and Max really played solid all year and really crescendoed at the end of the year, which we like to do, and so that bodes well. But they also realized that last year has nothing to do with this year whatsoever. In golf, it's like stocks. Past performance is no guarantee of future gains. So,
yes, guys kind of go off and do their own thing in the summer. Just what did you think about them when you got them back? Like, how much did those couple months, playing on their own, kind of help their game?
I always believe in that. I believe, it's like a parent. When you raise your child, you lead them through life. You tell them to do, guide them, and then when they go out on a Friday night for that first night out, you got your fingers crossed. You're thinking, hope they listen to what I said all those years, because they got to make decisions on their own. And that's kind of the way I approach summer golf. Is we work with them, we coach them all summer, and then to get them to own it and get them to learn and grow as a player, they have to do it themselves. They can't be coached all the time. So the summertime is a good time to get them to go out on their own and travel and do their own travel arrangements and make their own practice rounds and map out their own plans. And then as a coach, you just keep your fingers crossed that they listen and learn what you taught them all year and keep that vibe going. And I think for the most part they did. I mean, Jackson played some big time events, tour events and majors, and played good in the Am, and Max played good in the Western Am, and Ryan played good out in the Pacific Coast Amateur. And so there's some positives there, but as a coach you always want more consistency too. You want guys bring a level, a standard as often as they can.
You talked about Jackson crescendoing at the end of last season, but do you see this kind of keep carrying over in his summer play?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we want to do, and we want to keep getting better. That's why we do this. That's, we want to win championships, but at the end of it, when it's all said and done, who's going to remember a lot of this stuff, these normal events during the season? You want to see guys get better and improve and increase their brand, increase their game, and get their game level of the game to a place where they can play for a living someday. And that's what I really get excited about. And people asked about Jackson, the USAM, semi-finalist, and too bad he didn't win, and just almost close to going to the Masters and another U.S. Open. And I'm like, yeah, it's disappointing from that standpoint, but you know what? He got better that week, and that's what I like. So if they just keep getting better through tournaments we go to, like this week, we're going to try to win, but we're going to try to get better. We're going to try to just something that they do in their game, emotionally, mentally, physically, whatever it is. We're going to try to get them better a little bit and own it, and that's what gets me excited.
Like in the past, you haven't been afraid to go in the transfer portal, but you didn't this year. What was the reason behind that? What do you think you have in your younger guys?
We tried. It's not like we didn't try, but there's a lot of people out there with a lot of money these days. So we tried and didn't get a couple that we were looking at. But again, we're just not going to go out and put bodies in. As a golf program, you don't need bodies. Now, if you have injuries or issues or sickness, it'd be nice to have a deeper team. But when you have smaller teams, the coaching staff can spend more time with them and spend more time developing them. And the more players you have and the limited hours we have to practice, there's less time to work with them. So there's positives and negatives to both. But sure, it'd be nice to have maybe some more leaders, some more veteran experience in there, because we have 3 freshmen this year. They're going to have to step up. That's just the reality of it. But it's not like we didn't try.
Well, what do you see out of those young guys, along with Ethan? What do they bring?
Well, I played Ethan a lot last year for this reason. Again, we were kind of searching for a 5-man last year, a 4 and 5-man, and so when that happens, the young guys get a shake. They get a chance to get there and see what they can do. But it's also multifaceted, because I want them to get experience for the next year. Because as a coach, you always have. I've always said this since day one. You have half your mind in this year, and maybe 60%, 70% in this year, maybe 80. Trying to do it, but then in the back of your mind, you're always thinking, okay, I got to start thinking about next year too, because you don't want to be left holding the bag. So Ethan got a lot of reps last year, so I'm expecting him to show some use that experience. But he's still got to get better. He's still young, rather inexperienced probably by the college golf standards, but he's got some talent. And if he's just can get this thing moving in the right direction like he did last year a few times, he could be very helpful. And the freshmen have potential. But I'm reminded every year, it's like amazing how little these guys really know when they come into college. You think all the junior golf they play, and it's not a bad thing. It's just normal. It's not our guys in particular. It's every freshman. They just there's a whole other layer and level of golf that they've never experienced or understand or even thought about yet, and we're trying to show them that.
What stood out to you maybe the most about Jackson's run in the USAM? Just what caught your attention?
You know, he barely made match play. He struggled in stroke play a little bit and closed his last few holes to make match play. And then his first few matches, it was never, I think only one match maybe was pretty comfortable. The rest of them he had to come from behind. And that's what makes match play tough is, you know, he stayed steadfast and really closed and took it to another level emotionally and mentally and focus-wise the last few holes to win. So that's a huge thing to have. If he can learn to bring that mentality and that focus earlier in the rounds and more consistently, then the sky's the limit. But when he gets thrust into the zone, and you know, stress puts you into the zone. You know, I mean, it can really make you narrow your focus. And I saw at the USAM, that's what he did. He really, for all those matches he won against all those top players in the world, he just put it in overdrive last few holes, which was impressive.
How do you feel as a coach and a mentor having two of your players receive major preseason honors and be on the Haskins Award watch list?
Yeah, I mean, I'm proud of them. But again, it's not about me. It never has been. It's about them, and it means they're getting better. It means they've had good years last year. But I also know as a coach, like I said earlier, it has no bearing on this year. Just because they're there doesn't mean it's going to happen. Actually, it puts a little more of a you know, it distracts them a little bit and gets them ahead of themselves, which I don't like. So as a coach, I got to keep them grounded a little bit. But it shows they're getting better, and it shows what we're doing is working.
What do you
get players?
What do you like to maybe accomplish in your fall season? Like what are maybe things you're looking for from your team?
Well, I want to establish some momentum. I want some guys to start, you know, establishing some results for the fall, and then team-wise, I want to have a good fall and get comfortable because you know you're trying to make the regionals, trying to make nationals, you're trying to be, you know, the postseason. So everything you do in the fall right now, in September counts just as much as an event in April will. And the wins and losses are big, head-to-heads are big, and you want to position yourself for a successful spring. So you don't want to get behind the eight ball. You don't want to come out a little soft and lazy and fall behind the eight ball, if you will. So you got to come out with some purpose. But I just want to see growth. I want to see some guys. You know, last year we had a bunch of guys win individual events. We had 5 individual winners last year, which is a lot, and that was good for the guys to build some personal confidence.
Obviously, you've had teams with a lot of big expectations. I think this group has big expectations. How does a team deal with that? How do you, as a coach, you know, get through a season and deal with that to where they're hitting their stride?
That's coaches in every sport's biggest question. Expectations are good, but also I believe expectations limit you. They add stress, they add tension, they make you doubt yourself at times if things don't turn out. And in our sport, there's so much more negative and so much more adversity in our sport than there is good stuff. I mean, it just beats you up mentally, and it's happened so slowly. It's like a slow death if you're not playing well, and it's torture. So, you know, expectations can contribute to that if they don't turn out well. But expectations also should give you some confidence that you've done it before and that people believe in you outside yourself. But yourself is all that matters. So how we deal with expectations, you just got to stay in the moment and understand that they don't mean anything. It's maybe some of that noise that we always try to keep. It's positive noise, but it's still noise. And as a coach, you try to keep a handle on that noise.
What do you need from Jackson and Max as leaders with a younger group behind them?
Yeah, I mean, Jackson obviously is the only senior we have, so he's going to take some leadership. And then Ryan's a junior, and then Max a sophomore. But he played above his years last year as a freshman. I mean, almost wins a national championship. So the talent level's there. But again, you know, look up the definition of sophomore. You'll see how that concerns coaches. You know, it's a tough year sometimes for guys. So, but I think he has the ability and the focus to get through it.
Do you sense a little bit of nervousness from these freshmen playing with players like Jackson and Max, who, you know, Jackson was in the U.S. Amateur quarterfinalist or semifinalist, and Max was a top 15 finisher in the NCAA tournament? Like, do you think these freshmen are feeling a little bit nervous?
On my team, the freshmen on my team,
yes.
I don't. Maybe they feel nervous, but I would say maybe it's probably not as much secure, or maybe a little more indecisiveness or insecurity, maybe a little bit. Not nervous.
How
I
do you
think
hope to work through that with them?
I just got to throw them in there and play. I'm a big believer that throw them in the pool and let them figure out how to swim. I mean, if you go through the baby steps all the time, it'll be marsh before you know it. And I recruit these kids because they're good players. And sometimes they just got to face reality and just say, here I am, mano a mano. Let's find out how tough I am. And now we coach them. Don't get me wrong. We coach them hard and a lot, but they're here to play, and I expect freshmen to play. When I recruited them, I told them that. And if they come in scared and a little apprehensive and timid, that's on them. There's nothing we've ever said that makes that happen. I mean, they need to come in with some toughness and some fortitude if we're going to play at this level.
You got 3